So I was born in Compton, California. When I was 2 years old, my mother passed away. And at that time, my older two siblings were 8 and 9, and my brother Charles was a newborn. She actually passed the day after she gave birth to Charles. After my mother passed, we went to live with my maternal grandmother. She took the four of us. So we moved in with her, and at that time, she had 7 kids at home, I believe, so she had 7 of her own children, and then she took the 4 of us. So we grew up in a household with uncles and an auntie. Actually kind of grew up as siblings because we were so young when our mother passed, so when we moved in, they were there, so we kind of grew up as siblings together. She raised us with her kids.
Pretty much growing up in a household with uncles, aunties, and my sisters, and basically, pretty much that's it. Just growing up in a household with females and a few uncles.
Meet Tamara and Charles Prox, siblings whose lives were forever shaped by a loss they experienced before they even understood it. Tamara was just 2, and Charles only a newborn when they lost their mother. Join us as we journey back with them, unraveling their story and searching for meaning amid the mystery of their past. Tamara and Charles lost their mother at an age too young to understand. And to compound their misfortune, they grew up with no knowledge of their fathers. Each had a different father, yet neither was present in their lives. But by the grace of God, they weren't alone. They had the unwavering love and strength of their grandmother.
My grandmother played a big role because she made a decision to keep us. I don't think it was that easy for her to take on 4 more kids seeing as though she had so many kids already. I think it was probably a hard thing for her to do, but I think she did the best she could with the knowledge she had, and, the thing for me is she decided to keep us and keep us together, so that was a major thing for me growing up.
Though their loving grandmother was always there, nothing could fill the void of a mother's presence. As Tamara and Charles grew older, reality set in. They didn't have a mom.
So around 8 years old is when I began to understand that my mother had passed away and that wasn't our, like, biological mother. That's when those feelings of, realizing, "Oh, wait, we don't have our mother." That's when that kicked in around 8 years old. So it affects you because you're a kid and you realize you don't have a mom. And then so you start to wonder and ask questions, what happened to your mom? And, how come we don't have a mom? And, all that comes into effect.
It really didn't impact me because I didn't think too much of it at a young age. I didn't realize my grandmother wasn't my mother until I got a little bit older. And as I got older, that's when I realized my mom passed away the day after I was born.
One, you're dealing with not having your mom. And then two, not knowing who your father is.
I feel like I didn't have a mother because my mom was gone, even though my grandmother raised me. So it was like the embarrassment part of it because she was older and everybody else's mother was younger. So when she come up to the school, it was like an embarrassment type thing. That caused me to lash out a little bit.
So it had a big impact as far as my identity and growing up and just trying to figure out, it was just that feeling sometimes of like, wow, I really don't have parents. I think the times I found it the most difficult during school, mostly elementary school, is when you would have those projects where, you Father's Day, you would have to make the Father's Day cards. So that would sadden me a little bit because I'm like, well, I don't have a dad, so I'm not going to make a card. And even sometimes Mother's Day, even though I had my grandmother and she was like my mama, but you still have those thoughts of, hey, I don't have my biological mother. So it was mainly during those times, like Mother's Day and Father's Day, where it would impact me more emotionally.
Even though Tamara and Charles had their grandmother to take care of them, they had someone next in line to fulfill the duties. Their 9-year-old sister, Denise.
We were told this story that after my mother passed, and at that time Denise was 9 and my other sister Lisa was 8. So we were told the story that when my mother passed, my grandmother had some kind of second thoughts about keeping us. And we were told that my sister came home from school and she was crying and she begged my grandmother not to send us to foster care. And then my grandmother was like, no, you guys are going to stay with me. So even though she was only 9 years old, I think she kind of felt like we were her babies. And she just felt this responsibility to like look out for us and take care of us. And she just always, I guess, because she was the oldest, she always had that, like, these are, my younger siblings, my babies, and I got to look out for them.
My sister played a major role with me as far as trying to steer me in the right direction. It quite didn't work, but she tried. But she just gave me the best advice she can give me at that time. Like, I don't know, dealing with females, use protection, which didn't work for me, and the street life, be careful, and things of that nature.
I can remember, I think around elementary, she had an apartment in Paramount, California, and she would pick me up to spend weekends at her apartment. She would take me and my friends to a skating rink called Skate Depot in Cerritos. She had a little TR7. I remember that car, a little white TR7, and my friends and I would pile up in the back. She would drop us off at the skating rink, drop us off and pick us up. And Chico's Pizza, that was her favorite place, so she would take us there all the time.
As you can see, I'm mixed, and I had long hair. Basically, she just put my hair in ponytails and comb my hair and things of that nature. And basically, as we got a little bit older, going to our apartment in Paramount, just trying to be there for us and just trying to help us out as much as she could, dealing with her circumstances. So she played a major role in my life as far as trying to help me and steer me in the right direction.
While dealing with the complexities of realizing that their grandmother was not their mother, Tamara and Charles faced yet another heartbreaking loss: the passing of their grandfather.
Ooh, it really changed me. When you have somebody you can rely on and they're not there anymore, it just psychologically just like take you to another whole another world. After my grandfather's death, I didn't have nobody else to run to. That's who I spent a lot of my time with. We had a situation where he wasn't in the household, he moved out, but I always went around where he lived at. And for me, he was my go-to. If I needed anything, he was there for me. Like shoes, clothes, whatever I needed, money, whatever.
When you don't have a dad in the house, I mean, we had uncles in the house, and we had one uncle in particular, my Uncle Ricky, who would do stuff with us and take us places and do as much as he could. But of course, they had their own challenges and they were trying to live out their own life. So they did what they could for us, and he was the main one.
But Ricky played a major part as far as taking us places and trying to be there, but he had his own family. So he couldn't be there 100%, which probably what I needed because of the environment.
I set out to try and do something with Tamara and Charles to expose them to some different things outside of Compton, outside of the household, to see better, something different, and that to let them know later on, everything is not what you see just in your immediate surroundings.
would say when you don't have that strong role model in the house and you don't have your dad in the house, and then you have my grandma who was busy with all these kids, so of course she can't give everybody the attention they need.
When you don't have a father in the house, for the most part, it can be different. It can be hard. It can be difficult. And then you have to learn from other men.
I would say it affected him because you kind of turn to what's secure, and that was the streets.
Charles struggled deeply with the loss of his grandfather. Feeling adrift and with nowhere else to turn, he sought solace and a sense of belonging on the streets, hoping to find the security and connection that had been taken from him.
I ended up saving $20, and I ended up doing some things I had no business doing at that age, but everybody was doing it around me, all my friends and all the older people, and I just gravitated to it because I needed money. I needed some shoes, so I had to do what I had to do. You talking about fifth grade going to the sixth, and then sixth to seventh, that's when life started changing in the neighborhoods where you got the gangs, you got the drugs, you got your friends out here making money, and they able to buy what they want to buy. And for me, that was my transition at 12, falling into the street life.
I would say when that came on the scene, like gangster rap and violence, it just changed the neighborhood. So, it went from us being able to hang out all the time and, just hang out the neighborhood kids and, you would just stay outside forever. It changed when that came on the scene because then you started having more violence, more drive-by shootings, more, so it just made the neighborhood unsafe.
You had to adapt fast. For me, because I was 12 years old in the streets, I had to adapt because I'm around a lot of older individuals.
While Charles navigated life on the streets, Tamara confronted her own personal traumas.
I would say probably starting around middle school up until probably late 20s is when I dealt with the insecurities. Really in middle school because that was 80s, the time when music videos started to become real popular, and you watch these music videos and every girl in the video looked a certain way. Um, and I had my own securities about being dark skinned and having kinky hair because you would see, on the music videos, the light skin, the good hair, and sometimes being teased when I was younger about being darker or having coarse hair, so that a lot of insecurities uh, resolved around that.
And despite the insecurities, Tamara was persistent about finding out who her dad was.
I spent a lot of years wondering who he was, or I would have thoughts like, I wonder if he's still alive. I wonder, does he know about me? I wonder, like, if he just left, did he not want me? Like, all those thoughts and dealing with those emotions throughout the years was painful and hard.
Dear Michael, my name is Tamara Beasley. This might come as a surprise, but I think you're my father.
Once I did something like I went through the yellow pages and found all of those people with the same name and sent out letters, never got a response.
Weeks and months passed by, and yet Tamara never received what she had been looking for.
When computers became popular, I would search for him, but just could never find him. For Charles, it was a little different because he didn't have a name, and my mother passed away the day after she had him, so she wasn't able to put a name on his birth certificate. So for him, he didn't have any clues, or he had no idea. But for me, it was a little, I had the name, but never had any luck throughout, trying to find him.
While Charles and Tamara were searching and trying to connect the pieces, neither one of their fathers even knew they existed.
It was kind of hard because I had the name, but no one really knew, who he was. And it was hard because I had the name and I was searching, but just could never find him, the years that I searched. So it made it difficult. And then it brought up those thoughts, well, maybe he's really not my dad. Maybe it's somebody else, or, maybe this is not the right name. Yeah, it was hard. It was, I would have times where I would be okay, and then I would have times when I did do those searches and did get any response, that sadness would kick back in, because it was just that wanting to know, like, who he is, like, who's my dad.
I wonder what your smile is like. Is it wide, small, or just a partial one? I wonder what your laugh is like. Is it quiet, loud, or simply fun?
Even though Tamara was the one who was actively seeking her dad, Charles is the one who had the better luck.
Okay, with me, I always wanted to know what I was mixed with. I thought I was mixed with Hispanic. So as I got older and I heard about the ancestry, I wanted to take the test to see what I was mixed with. So when I took the test and got the results, I had a match with a gentleman. Say he was like a uncle or some relative like that, close relative. He was closer than me than actually my sister now. So I started doing some investigation and Googling and ooh, just took my time and found him. Ended up getting his number. Ended up calling me on Easter. He didn't leave me nowhere.
Well, it was in 2018, back in April, and my brother Tim gave me a call. He lives in the Denver, Colorado area. And he said, I've been in contact with somebody who has posted their DNA on ancestry.com and found that it was a close match with my DNA, which I had posted earlier this year. And he thinks it's a close enough match that I could be his father. But of course, I was never in California during those years. But of course, you were because you worked there. And I said, yep, you're right. I was in California during that period of time. So that's how I found out about it.
So I ended up doing some more research and I found my dad. Well, actually, I found his cousins and my sister and my brother first. And then I found my dad. My wife ended up finding the number, and I ended up calling the number, which was his ex-wife. And she said she was going to send an email. I never received nothing from the email or anything like that. So I ended up getting my dad's number, finding that. And I ended up calling him, leaving a message, and he ended up calling me back.
I got a call from my ex-wife saying somebody's calling here trying to reach you. And because she had a landline and I just had a cell phone, and I said, oh, okay. Did you get their number? No. Did you give them my number? No. And so that was the next step. And then the next thing what happened is in the first part of May, Charles actually called me.
So when he ended up calling me back, I offered to pay for a blood test for me and him. He take his in Houston, I take mine in LA. And he agreed to it. And we took the blood test and it came back 99.9%.
I did take the test. He called to confirm that the results were a match. He sent me by email the DNA results, and it had so many nines after the 99.99 that it was clear that I was a match.
Hey Charles, what's up?
Tamara, I found him. I found my pops.
No way, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was totally unexpected. I just wanted to know what I was mixed with.
I'm so happy for you, Charles. This is incredible.
I was very happy. I was intrigued to meet him. We flew down to Houston.
I had not even thought about doing the ancestry, but my brother Charles did it first. And after he was successful with it, he, suggested I do it.
Look, here's my family tree. It's so incredible, all the things you can discover.
Wow.
Maybe you should give this a try. I mean, you never know what you might find.
Maybe I will. I mean, it's worth a shot.
So I ordered the Ancestry DNA, kit. I did the testing and sent it in. They send you an email, so I checked the results, and there was a close match under me. It said close relative, but it had a name that I didn't recognize. It was the last name was Salam, had Naeem Salam, and my last name is Beasley, which I would find out later. My dad changed his name. So when that name popped up, I was a little thrown off, like, who's this Salam guy? So I sent him, Naeem, an email and said, hey, my name is Tamara. You came up as a close match on my ancestry, and this is the name on my birth certificate, yada yada yada. And I never got a response, so I just kind of left it alone.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna change my last name from Beasley to Salam. And one of the motivating factors was Salam means peace. I say, man, if I could have peace in my life, that's heaven on earth. So I said, from now on, I'm Salam. And my first wife and I, we changed our name, and all the boys after that, all the children after that became Salam. So now while Tamara is looking for Beasley, he don't exist anymore. It's Michael Salam.
Confused by the outcome of her ancestry results, Tamara began to lose hope of finding her father.
But what was the name of that close match you found on Ancestry.com?
It was someone named Salam.
We were just sitting around talking, and Charles said, hey, what was that name that came up? And I told him the name, Naeem Salam. And he kind of started Googling stuff on his phone and Googling.
What are you doing?
Despite her growing doubt, Charles was determined to exhaust every option before giving up.
I bet these are your people. I mean, they look just like you. Wait, Michael John Salam. What was the name on your birth certificate?
Michael John Beasley. It's so close, but the last name is different.
Let me dig deeper here.
We nicknamed Charles the detective because he can find anybody.
I'm seeing this whole extensive list of Beasleys that he's related to.
Probably 30 minutes after Charles left, he called me and he was like, hey, I think I found your dad. And I was just like, wait, what? And then he said, yeah, he gonna be out here Sunday. We gonna meet up with him. And I was just like, wait, what? Trying to process it. So that's how that whole thing happened. Yeah, so yeah.
And just like that, the pieces of the puzzle were beginning to put themselves together with help from God and, oh, of course, Detective Charles.
Tamara's brother, Charles, had did some investigation, and he found out that I was possibly the father through some DNA. We'll get into that later. But he called my house. Some kind of way he got the phone number. He called my wife and he said, hey, is this Michael Beasley's residence? Now, Beasley was my old name prior to me converting to Islam and becoming Muslim and changing it to Salam. So my wife was like, well, no, that's his old name. Yeah, but yeah, he lives here. He said, well, I think he might be my sister's dad. Now imagine now, I'm at work. The phone call got to my wife. Now, it ain't come to me, it went to my wife. So when I get home, you can cut the silence in the house. I mean, it's thick, man. I'll come through the door.
So when I was searching for my dad over the years, I was searching for Michael John Beasley. But I would learn later when I did finally find him that he converted to the Muslim religion, I believe in the early 70s. So he changed his last name from Beasley to Salam. And that would explain why I couldn't find him over the years. Even when I looked through the yellow pages when I was a teen, I sent out those letters to Michael John Beasley. And that would explain why I never got a response. Or when Google became popular, I would always search for Michael John Beasley.
So in 75, I changed my last name from Beasley to Salam. And I'm sure that was some of the difficulty because she was looking for a Beasley. And then, even in my understanding, even when she did connect with Naeem through the DNA, the ancestry.com, she was like, "Who is Salam? My name Beasley. Who these Salam dudes?" I think it was Charles said, "No, them your folks. They look like you. Them your folks." I think Charles told her that.
And that's why I could never find him, because now his last name is Salam. So that's where the confusion came in when I did get the DNA match and Naeem Salam came up, which is one of my brothers.
So dad told me, but the crazy part about it was the whole, I think it was ancestry DNA thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it all came about. So like I did the ancestry thing years prior. I thought I locked my profile.
When I actually received the news, yeah, it was a text. Hey, give me a call. So he said, "Better probably you talk on the phone about this." And so I was okay, gave him a call.
Man, it's been a couple years now, but I think it was Dad who told me.
I get just a random call from Dad one day. He's like, "Hey, man." I was like, "Hey, Dad." He's like, "Did you do that ancestry genetic testing stuff?" And I was like, yeah, I did that. Why? He's like, "Yeah, you might have an older sister. I'm gonna call you right back." And then he hung up the telephone. That's exactly. And then I was like, "What is going on?" And then I think he connected with them and then finally circled back to me. He's like, "Yeah, like you have an older sister." So that's how I found out.
I said, "Yeah, we're gonna sit and talk about this in person, but you got a sister." So, oh damn. Okay, cool. Yeah, good idea. I'll process this, and then we'll meet. All right, yeah.
"Okay, Dad, we get this call, man. What's going on?" And I'm like, "Who?" So I'm racking. I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah." He said he's gonna call you back. But I just want to make this point before I move on. Can you imagine your wife getting a call saying that I have a daughter outside of the marriage. We don't know how old she is. We don't know any of that. So her mind is like it's like, okay, what's going on here, man? All right, do I go get Johnny Cochran now, file the paperwork? What we going to anyway? So I called Charles, and then once Charles told me the story, the backdrop of all this, then that's when I kind of said, "Oh, okay, I got an idea what this is about. But what really consoled my wife was the fact that when all this went on, she was 10 years old. Okay.
Once I met him, it was like a mystery was solved. And yeah, there's some joy, of course, because I'm like, hey, I got my dad now. And I think at some point, that little girl came out that always longed to know who her father was. Like, that was there, and I'm like, hey, I got my dad now. He's here. And it's a good relationship.
You've only known her for a short period of time, but it feels like she's been family forever.
Facts, dude.
Like that's the crazy part about it. When you really reflect on it, it's like, wait, 4 years?
Yeah.
But the depth of the relationship is like, she's been there for the past 40. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that speaks volumes to just how she's part of this now.
The attachment and the bond that we've created has been facilitated from being in a space of just purely wanting to love someone that's your family, to love on them and then create space to be loved on by them. And that's a beautiful way to enter a relationship.
My brothers are wonderful, and everybody was so accepting. That was one thing I was nervous about when I went to meet them, thinking, what if they don't accept me, or what if they like, who is this lady? Where's she coming from? But everybody was great and accepting, and it's been good.
I've always wanted a daughter, so that's the best change, man. And we talk, we text, and man, I love her. She got the greatest sense of humor. I say that's me, She thinks she's funnier than me, but she got a great sense of humor. I love that in her.
And my dad is like, he loves to laugh and tell stories, and that's me too, and always laughing. And he's funny. Yeah.
And then she's impacted the family in a positive way, where the brothers will call, ask for advice or stuff of that nature. So it's been a powerful and a positive impact on me and my whole family. The twins, all of them look up to her as the big sister, you know what I mean? So it's been really great, man.
He said it all already in the last thing you heard. It's been seamless. And I don't, I'm grown. It's not like I want for much. Sometimes I'm falling in a situation I feel like didn't even know I needed it. And it's hard to put in words. Like it's my sister, I know it, but it already feels like, it feels like we've always been family, literally. So it's more so about, hey, when do we get to hang out more? It's like family I felt like I've always had. And now it's just like, oh, when do we get to catch up more? I don't know if that makes sense.
In life, we are often faced with loss, uncertainty, and questions that seem impossible to answer. For Tamara and Charles, their journey was no different. Yet, in adulthood, their determination led them to uncover the truth about their fathers, transforming their lives in ways they never imagined.
My dad and my brother are actually engineers, and growing up, always had a knack for math and didn't know where it came from. And I wanted to go to school for mathematics, which I was going to school for mathematics, but life happens. But kind of find out, that's where I get it from.
It's changed in that it's expanded my circle and put another destination on my traveling, on an annual basis. But I enjoy talking to him and interfacing with him, and we stay in touch. He likes the Dallas Cowboys. So I have to give him a bad time about the Dallas Cowboys because, they don't make the playoffs as often as they used to, and they don't go very far when they do. But, it's all good.
I grew up with all females, now I have a brother. So that's different. And it was interesting. It was nice.
Charles did all the work, but I think Tamara told me told me about what Charles had done to help her find her father. And I believe Charles called me, told me about his own father, yeah. And I was really so happy for both of them.
It's amazing the sacrifices that the grandmother had to go through and the grandfather to take in 3 very young children and raise them. So it was a privilege to meet her as well.
For me, it's closure. It was that lifelong mystery of wondering who he was, and now that I found him, it's like it closes up that missing piece I felt that was missing in my life, and it's a good thing because now I feel like, okay, of course, at one point I didn't have either of my parents, and I can't have my mom because she's passed away, but at least I have my dad now, and I'm able to close that piece up, and yeah.
Unfortunately, after reuniting with their fathers, Charles and Tamara faced yet another heartbreaking loss. Their beloved grandmother, Dolores Williams, who lovingly took them in at a young age, and their cherished sister, Denise Allison, have both passed away. The absence of their sister and grandmother is a deep and constant ache, one that words cannot fully capture. While finding their fathers has brought them immense joy and solved a lifelong mystery, the loss of their sister and grandmother has taught them a profound truth. Joy and grief can coexist, intertwining in the journey of life. Peace and blessings to you all.